Hello, this is me again, Taboo. Alright, so far my last video seems to be doing substantially better than my rest thus far, so let's try and keep up this trend. Maybe. Today we shall be talking to you about, well, I guess I will since it's just me. For now, anyway. I shall be talking to you about a different matter. Equally whimsical, but meant more for comedic value, if you will. I'm going to talk to you about Yokai Watch. Now, before we even get into this, let me tell you something right now. I know that Yokai Watch and Pokemon have had a bit of a rivalry thus far. I shall be referencing Pokemon now and then throughout this, but it is mainly going to be to help explain why is it that one is different from the other. I am not siding with one or the other. I love both series. They are both near and dear to my heart, and I do not want to have anyone trying to explain why one is just vastly better than the other. I don't care. You got that? Cool. And for those of you that don't have that, check out Sexy Whisper here, and well, if this honestly doesn't show that this show is vastly different than Pokemon, I don't know what will. Alright, get done basking in his glory? Perfect, let's go. I'm on a time crunch here, so we gotta make this move on. When one talks about Yokai Watch, one cannot start without starting with the tribes. These 11 different tribes are all ones that you can find in Yokai Watch. By now, there are probably more, but these are the localized tribes, meaning they're the tribes you're most likely going to find in English-speaking games. From the top left, through the row, all the way down to the bottom right, the most craziest looking one, you'll know for a fact which one I'm talking about. We have the Pink Heart, which is the Charming tribe. This tribe is mainly oriented around yokai that are friendly, approachable, very, well, meek looking in some regard. The yokai that you would generally want to just pick up and squeeze with every fiber of your being. Next is Mysterious, the yellow question mark looking one. That one, that tribe is a bit of a, well, mystery. An enigma, if you will. It's hard to understand that tribe, as it is filled to the brim with yokai that are destined to be pretty much head scratchers in their own regard. Whether it's their appearance, how they act, what they do. Honestly, you'd have an easier time trying to figure out a crossword puzzle single-handedly with no hints than trying to figure out those guys. Next up is Tough, the Orange Fist. That tribe is built around best with yokai that are strong, firmly grounded. They aren't the types to get pushed around very easily, and they know it. Which leads to some having relatively large egos, unfortunately. Like, honestly, you'd be shocked how many meatheads you'll find in that tribe. Guarding, blocking, and overall defense is their main name of their game. Next up is Heartful, which is the green flower. Now, I know technically the Heartful tribe, or the Healer tribe in most games, anime, whatever, is considered the most important to some because they're the ones that keep you alive. But Heartful, a lot of them aren't pacifists. I'll put it to you like that. Quite a few of them are surprisingly tough and can knock heads together just as easily as the attackers can, if not better. You are more likely to find them either up front, cracking skulls together while healing at the same time, making them an active threat, or you're going to find them hiding behind a tough tribe yokai, or an attacker, depending on if you're gutsy enough. Just more applying support in any way they possibly can. Next up, we have Eerie, which is the purple eye. This tribe is filled to the brim with disturbing, weird, and overall odd yokai. While none of them are bad, pray tell, there are quite a few of them to where appearance-wise, habit wise or overall mannerisms would suggest that they are a type you want to steer clear of. Do note, I really feel like I should say this. This tribe is not a bad tribe at all. It is very effective at what it does, but it ultimately refrains from acting in any way that is commonplace. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, well, don't judge a book by its cover. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up, we have the Brave tribe, which is the red emblem. This tribe is built around guts, pride, honor, the pursuit to better oneself despite the odds, while also priding themselves on their tremendous offensive power. They are what you would call the attackers, effectively. Attack, and attack some more, buffing up your strength so that you can attack harder. Attack so that you can defend your allies and crush the enemy at once. That is their motto, and they will strive to embody it. Next up is the Shady tribe, which is the dark blue smiley face. Just look at that big grin. Doesn't it just scream approachable? Well, let me give you some advice. A lot of these yokai, don't bother them. Quite a few of them, not exactly the most talkative sorts. Just leave them alone, and odds are they'll leave you alone. Others, I pray that things go decently well for you. There are many that will just simply cause you problems simply just by you being near them. Their pessimistic and dreary attitudes can easily bring down even the happiest of days. However, that little bit of dreariness is never necessarily a bad thing. You'd be shocked how easy it is for just one bad thought to ruin something that's openly amazing, but it grounds you so that you don't do something stupid. Next up is the light blue one, the slippery tribe, which is the squiggle, which you could kind of think as a snake if you want to remind you of the slippery aspect of it. This tribe is built around slimy, difficult to get a hold of, very sly yokai. Well, not with, ironically enough, a lot of them usually based around appearance-wise to kind of remind you of the sea. You got mermaids, you got eels, you got fish. A lot of fish, let me tell you. This tribe, while not exactly the most formidable, they are the most difficult to put the pin down because of their natural ability to basically evade any and all attempts at being able to put them down. You know that kind of player like that's known, I think it's called the finesser, where like they're very difficult to touch, but they're able to hit you obnoxiously hard despite their lanky facade. Well, that's pretty much Slippery Tribe in a heartbeat. Very difficult to touch, but they have no problem beating you down with every ounce of their being. Third to last, we have the Wicked. The Wicked is its emblem it's hard for me to describe, but I had to go with best of probably like an upside down earring with a blackish, dark bluish color to them. It's hard to describe that color. I want to say indigo, but I don't even think indigo is that dark. And dark they are, because the Wicked tribe, as the name would suggest, are, well, nasty. In fact, they are a very old tribe, like primordial old, like when yokai started up old. They are kind of like the beginning of badness, so to speak. I know, badness, very limited word, but it's the best way that I can possibly put it with these guys. Because any other word, while more accurate, it's probably not something I can just say out loud. Then again, I'm taboo, so I guess I'd probably just get over with. Malicious. Deadly. Honestly, they're the yokai that, when they get a hold of you, they'll make you do things that you will regret. But in the heat of the moment, you'll just be cackling like an absolute bastard, watching the world around you burn. And then once that yokai leaves you, well, That guilt's finna hit you like a freight train, and I pray that you end up dying from said guilt so that you don't gotta deal with the consequences. Moving on, we have the cyborgs, or kyborgs, whichever one you decide to call them. You don't really have to worry too much about this tribe too much, because there's only one member of the entire tribe, his name being Cyborg Y. And yes, it is exactly as it sounds. Cy, then Borg, and then Y. He is weird, to say the least. With literally his entire power being that he can shoot a beam from his belly button, which will turn other yokai, humans, and inanimate objects into more kyborgs. Yeah. Very weird. Very much something you don't really want to deal with, and I adamantly implore you to just ignore him if you see him. But if you're a completionist, then you should know that he's a bit of a pushover, so if you have a decently tough squad or just guys that love beating people down, yeah, you should be safe. The last one, I desperately beg you, do not square up with this guy. He will make you cry. Well, no. They will make you cry. Meet Enma. Yes, Lord Enma, as in God and or demon of the yokai world. They are a primordial tribe, the beginning yokai, if you will. The ones that founded it all, started it all, and ultimately the ones that are going to end it all if they so choose. There's so much to unpack with them, I don't know where to start, so I'll just tell you this. You know Arceus from Pokemon, the literal one and true god of the world? Well, imagine an entire tribe dedicated to just yokai like him. Or, I guess, just beings like him, so to speak. Something that powerful, and there's like at least 6 of them. Yeah, you can imagine things from there, so I don't need to continue. Moving on, we have ranks. Side note, you might hear me puffing and puffing a lot, but that's because I cannot talk this long normally, so I'm going to try and speed blitz to the rest of us. Bear with me. Back to it. We have ranks. Ranks are just a simple statistic that yokai use in order to determine their strength in comparison to those around them. E rank is the lowest rank, meaning yokai that are effectively pushovers for the most part. They're barely considered yokai by some. Yes, being racist off of your rank is something that is a thing in the yokai world, so remember that. It's very, very, very rare, but at the same time, it's thought to be very, very, very rare in our society, no, isn't it? Or at least that's what very hopeful people would assume. And back to this. S rank is the highest, by the way. Those are yokai that are obnoxiously powerful for the sake of being strong. So, like Enma, for instance. But not like Enma also. Enma is top of the totem pole. S ranks are below Enma. They are yokai that either gain their power through multiple millennia of being around and just gradually gaining strength by doing what they do, or they're yokai that gain tremendous strength via other methods. I won't spoil what other methods, because this is just supposed to be a snippet of Yokai Watch. If you want to learn more, by all means, just do a little bit of Googling here and there. You'll find out a lot more than this random weirdo talking to you about it will be able to inform you about. Though, one common thing that all yokai, despite whatever rank they may possess, shall have is their ability to grant you medals. What are these medals? Simple. They are a symbol of the yokai's respect, friendship, acknowledgement, or anything of the sort. When the yokai hands you this, it means that they have considered you a friend or an ally. And And regardless of the reasoning for why they give you the medal, it means the same regardless. Using said medal, you can put it into the watch, the namesake watch of the series being the Yokai watch, that little white watch you see everywhere whenever you look up this series. On the very, very average boy. Well, that watch, when you put the medal into the watch, it will summon the yokai to your aid. One thing, and this is a major thing, one in which I don't see many people in Pokemon or yokai ever talking about, which I think is stupid because it's very obvious. Probably because it's the taboo of their world, but well, that's my job to talk to you about. So here it comes. It's not slavery. There's no better way to put it. Because when you summon a yokai via the yokai watch, it has its own right to refuse you. Yes, that's right. Refuse you. If a yokai is not in the mood to help you, it has the full power to just simply say no. It even get crossed with you for summoning them in the first place. Now, first, many people would just simply think, why in the world would I like creatures like that where if I need them most, then they won't help me? That's just unreliable. Why would I want that? I can just go to Pokemon when I know for a fact they will help me. Yeah. I'm not going to go into immense detail about this because I'm quite confident you can tell where I'm going with this, so I'll just leave it at this. Just because they're there constantly to help you doesn't mean they often want to. Like, for instance, legendary Pokemon. Do you think they liked being beaten up until they were barely alive and then crammed into a tiny ball for the rest of their existence? No? Well, then again, maybe some of you don't even really think about that. They just think, ooh, legendary, and immediately start beating the tar out of it in hopes of maybe catching it. If you're that kind of person, and I know for a fact that a lot of you are, I am one of them, I'll openly admit it. Well, I ain't got much to say except you know who you are, and I hope that you feel bad about it. If you don't, well then, I guess you and me are gonna be good friends. Moving on. We shall talk about a different matter altogether. Said matter being the yokai's influence. Now then, let me ask you this. Have you ever lost something or forgot something important? Like, say, the key to your house or, well, any kind of key or any type of object. Key to your house, a check that you might have near the cash today. A gift to a friend that you know for a fact you're going to be meeting today and you need to grab on your way out the door. Well, it might not just be because you were careless, but more because someone or something made you careless enough to let that happen, even though you knew it was important. Meet the yokai, Pandal. This little Rambo is able to cause those around him to become unbelievably careless. Now, said carelessness could be just like a harmless bit of just, oh, sorry, I just didn't think about this. And then that's just the end of it. A simple apology and you're good. There are other acts where being careless via Pandal could cause dramatic problems. Oh, like, put it to you this way. Imagine, hypothetically, you have a job at, say, the zoo. And it's your job to open up a pen, feed the animals, and then leave. Or clean the animal's pen or something. What would happen if you were careless enough to not fully close the door? Think of it like that. Then all of a sudden, said creature just bumps its head against the door and boom, it's free. That bout of carelessness is going to be 100% on your head, so don't assume a yokai that is an E-rank, by the way, could be nothing to worry about. Or we could take this other one, for example. Have you ever been packing up for a big trip or something, and you forget to zip up your bag. You pick it up, and then all of a sudden, everything that you neatly packed in there falls on the floor. Simply because you forgot to zip it up. Or heck, it could be even worse. You could have flat out forgot the bag altogether. And then you end up having to show up at this place and you have nothing. Well, that's probably because of this guy. Meet Was-At. Was-At. And no, I did not misspeak, despite the fact I did this a lot. That is actually his name, Was-At. His whole gimmick is that he can clamp himself onto your head, like how you would expect to be able to wear a hat, with a big mouth like that, especially. And he's able to cause you to lose your memories by eating them. That's right. He will literally clamp himself onto your head and then suck out your memories. Now, I should say that he's not going to take too much, granted. One, because if you just have like very, very foul memories, like you have nothing in your mind except dirty, sultry, disgusting stuff, well, you'll be lucky. Was-At won't bother you because he only needs to try and eat your memories once, and then he'll never do it again because they'll be so foul he will not be able to stomach them. Anyone else with good memories, for instance, like say you just had your first kiss with your crush and you think, oh, I'll never forget that. Chomp. And then any and all thought of that promptly out the window. Yeah, that could be pretty heartbreaking, huh? Especially if your crush wants to do it again and you don't remember ever doing it. Yeah, that could cause problems in a heartbeat if a misunderstanding happens. By the way, this guy also very low ranking, either E or D. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, very low on the totem pole, can still cause you a heck of a lot of problems. This last one, I believe, is the most iconic because he is probably the biggest yokai you will ever see. Well, any ordinary mortal, anyway, would see. If you're better at the yokai watch, well, you're gonna see a lot. They're usually a heck of a lot bigger and a heck of a lot scarier. Regardless. Have you ever wanted to just go out, just have a nice long night on the town, see the world? Just an entire new realm of possibility. But oh wait, you forgot that you're not supposed to leave the house. Whether because, like, you're too young to be able to leave, or maybe you were supposed to stick around because something very important was coming that you needed to be at home for. And you thought, nah, I'll just be gone for a little bit. I'll be back long before this ever happens. Or long before I ever get caught. Well, there's a big red Oni that notices this every single time. And if he decides it, sometimes he'll just let you off the hook and hope for a fact that it's just like a one-time thing. Other times, you'll be able to hear his thundering footsteps clumbering down the street after you. This big fella is known as Gargaros, one of 3 Onis specifically that can be summoned when somebody does something irresponsible to some degree. The other 2 are Orgulus and Orcanos. I'll actually leave the criteria of what summons them a mystery. You'll know for a fact what it is when they arrive. And if they don't, well, good for you. Side note, no, he is not just there to scare you. You see that giant spiked club that he has resting on his shoulder? I'll just say it ain't for show. And you better hope and pray whatever yokai you summon is either strong enough to help you or is capable of distracting him. And yes, he is an S rank. Honestly, it would be a bit criminal if he wasn't. Moving on, we have another Oni actually. This one, kind of the same criteria. Meet Snartle. Now, he should be a bit iconic. I mean, after all, masks, horns, the swords that he uses to carve up any quote-unquote naughty brats who don't follow the rules around here. Well, he has no problem making darn sure that you stay in line and you just be a nice, good little kitty. So many yokai, all able to do some of the silliest of things. And then there are some that, well, they won't do anything directly to you. Their presence will still be a pain. So, if you're interested, find out on your own. I'm only giving you those little snippets just because I'm nice. So with that, that's a relatively simple synopsis of what Yokai Watch is, what the yokai are, a little bit of what they could do, or what they will do. So, if y'all are a little more interested in what exactly these mystical creatures can truly accomplish, when either with your guidance or just simply on their own, well, there's a whole wide world out there. Just simply do a bit of light observation. You never know what you might find. This has been Taboo. And to all my sinners and saints out there, stay freaky.